Welcome to The Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. I am in a different type of setting today. I'm going to be experimenting with doing my podcast on the road. I'm actually traveling right now, and I am kind of going to bring you guys along with me on my travels. If people are just tuning in for the first time and don't know, this is the first time you're hearing my podcast, and maybe you've never heard of me. My name is Renee Patrice. I am the CEO of Onyx Queen Media, which is a branding and event planning firm. So I am a brand strategist and marketeer for personalities and also brick and mortar brands who are expanding their lifestyle reach. So I do a lot of brand deals. I do a lot of endorsements. I negotiate contracts. I am a part of doing events in and out of the media, so I often get flown out to be on the team for an event. I often get flown out to speak at events and things of that nature. So I feel like I don't really share a lot of that. So I'm going to be doing videos. If you guys are following me on Instagram, follow me at Onyx Queen Media, ONYXQUEENMEDIA, Onyx Queen Media. Follow me on Instagram because I'm going to start doing stories that show what I'm really doing, because I don't think I share a lot of that, and I do get a lot of questions like, what do you really do? And, where do you go? And I'm always traveling, and I don't think people realize how much I do travel. So I absolutely love what I do. It can be tiring sometimes. It can be lonely on the road sometimes, but I absolutely love what I do. And I just think I want to share it a little bit more than I have been. So as I said, I'm on travel right now, and I'm at a coffee house. I'm kind of in the corner a little bit, so that I'm not too much in the middle of the, fray of what's going on. So if you hear clinking and clanking in the background, that's the coffee machines and stuff going, and you'll hear people talking. But I wanted to say rest in peace to Toni Morrison. I just wanted to kind of read a little bit. I found a little thing online. I wanted to read a little bit about her. She has been a prolific person for me in my life. If folks know, I'm a journalist, and I'm definitely in media. Those are two things that I went to school for, and I just love the art of words and writing and how beautiful it is, and music and all those sort of things. I guess that's why I'm so deep into the lifestyle industry, because those things really resonate with me. And I just want to say rest in peace to her, and also love and prayers to her family, her legacies that will go on after her. For those that may not know about Toni Morrison, I kind of want to read a little bit about her, and then we'll just see where the rest of this podcast goes. So her name is actually Chloe Anthony Warford Toni Morrison, okay? And she was born February 18th, 1931, and she passed away August 5th, 2019. She was an American novelist, essayist, editor, teacher, and professor at Princeton University. Her first novel, The Bluest Eye, which actually was the first book that I ever read. It was published in 1970. The critically acclaimed Song of Solomon, which was published in 1977, brought her national attention, and she won the National Book Critics Circle Award. In 1988, she won the Pulitzer Prize and the American Book Award for Beloved, which came out in 1987. She was born and raised in Lorain, Ohio. Morrison graduated graduated from Howard University, HU. If anybody knows, I lived in the DMV for 15 years, so Howard University has definitely been a staple for me. She graduated from there in 1953 and went on to graduate school at Cornell University. Later, while teaching English at Howard University, she married Harold Morrison. They had 2 children. She divorced in 1964. In the late 1960s, she became the first Black female editor in fiction at Random House in New York City. If people don't know Random House is a large book publishing firm in New York. In the 1970s and 80s, she developed her own reputation as an author, and her perhaps most celebrated work, Beloved, was made into a film in 1998. If people remember that film, this was one where Oprah came in, and it was just, if people have not seen Beloved, I'm not even going to spoil it for you. Look up the film Beloved, and it is starring Oprah Winfrey, and I believe Oprah Winfrey may have been an executive producer on that movie as well. It is phenomenal. So I just wanted to kind of give a little review of her, some of her highlights of her life, and what she has brought to the table as a novelist. And definitely her style of writing it's not a simple read. Her style of writing is very, very intense, and it's not very flighty at all. It's so intense, but it is, if you are truly a journalist, if you are truly a person who has written for years, you get it and you understand the way that she expresses herself in her writing. And it has definitely made an impression on me. I own several of her books. I do own The Bluest Eye. I own Tar Baby. I own Song of Solomon, Beloved, and also Sula. Sula, I think, is probably my favorite out of all of them, although Bluest Eye was the first of her novels that I ever read, but Sula is probably my favorite. And I think Sula came out, I want to say in the early to mid 70s is when that book came out. So I just kind of want to, touch on that, because I was saddened to hear of her death, but at the same time, this woman was 88 years old. She gave us decades and decades of her talent and her love of literature, and just her professionalism, and her words. Her words were always impactful, and just amazing, absolutely amazing. So may she rest in peace, and again, prayers and thoughts to her family who are going to carry her legacy on. So I know it's kind of been a rough week. I don't want to highlight the negativity that has been happening. I think if you watch the news, you've seen a lot of the unrest that is happening in our country and violence that has been taking place in our country. And, I'm not going to give too much of a platform to it, but I really hope that the powers that be start to take this more seriously, and to listen to the people who are suffering and who are left behind after these senseless acts of violence that have been, quite frankly, happening in this country for many, 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 many years. But to have this happen in this type of magnitude, to have 2 back-to-back days of violence, have just been absolutely devastating. And I'm hoping that, like I said, I hope that the powers that be start to pay attention more than they have in the past. And no one person can fix this, but I feel if we gather as a country, there's the saying of America, we the people. If we the people start to change our hearts, start to change who we are, start to look out more for one another, I think that you can affect change from within. And I don't think that if the powers that be, and we can't keep blaming the politicians, we have to start looking at ourselves, so that's all I'm going to say about that particular subject matter. But hopefully people will understand where I'm coming from. So like I said, I am going to be doing something a little bit different because I want to share more of myself. I want to share more of what I do. And I think taking people on the road with me is a great way to do it. If you do follow me on Instagram, you know that I go live every now and then when I'm running errands and things like that, or if I'm in different cities and, that sort of thing. I go live from my car, basically, and I show where I'm going and, sometimes visiting with clients and having meetings and things like that. So I am going to make that a thing. I don't know if I'm going to call it a specific name, like a series or whatever, but maybe I'll figure out a name for the series or something. But I'm going to share a little bit more of myself and what I do. And if people have questions and comments and things like that, I want to hear about it. So feel free to email me info@onyxqueenmedia.com. Follow me on social media. It is at Onyx Queen Media on Instagram, on Twitter, and also on Facebook. That's all I got to say right now. I am on my way to catching a flight. I just stopped to get something to eat, and I wanted to just share a little bit of my thoughts about Toni Morrison and, kind of like what's happening in the world right now. So again, follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much to all the listeners of the Queen's Lair podcast. If you find this podcast helpful, you feel like this podcast has helped you in your business life, helped you to decide if you're going to take that leap into entrepreneurship, or you just love the weekly encouragement, consider supporting us on Patreon. That's www.patreon.com. That's patreon.com/The Queen's Lair. Support us. We want to do amazing things with this podcast, but we can't do it without your help. Consider supporting us on patreon.com/The Queen's Lair. Thank you so much for your continued support.